This is the 51st Test from the Future, an experimental podcast from the year 2222, which we are sending from our present to yours. My name is Dirk.
And my name is Simon.
And we're putting the past in podcast. So, for our 51st episode, we both look a little different than usual.
Mm-hmm. Different than usual, and especially different since last week.
Definitely. I have a new top hat.
Mm-hmm. It suits you. You were inspired from what we saw last week, or?
Let's leave it at that. I was inspired.
Mm-hmm.
Let's leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to.
Good. It looks just like that one we saw last week. It really.
Yes.
I see now why you were attracted to it last week. Yeah, it fits you well.
Let's move on to why you look different.
Sure. Right now I'm sitting, but earlier when we were walking around, I've got a big old limp going on. And that's because when I came home the other day, a huge parcel had been delivered, but rather than in its normal place, it had been teleported, right in front of where I stepped when I got out of my teleporter.
Ah, okay, so you got out and then you...
into it. Yeah.
Okay.
And I was happy to get it, but not so happy at the falling over, bumping my leg, and now having a limp.
What was it?
Newest Lego model. There's this series that they've been doing for a long time now. Once a year, they release these really big models.
Mm-hmm.
And then this should be, I think it's the number 216.
Wow.
I've been doing it for a while.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know we haven't been in your Lego room for a while, so does it still fit?
You mean, will it fit once I build it?
Uh-huh.
I should do, yep.
Okay.
I've been expanding that room. As the years go by, I've been planning ahead. I expand the room so that I have space to grow.
Cool.
And I've been spoiler-free. So I know it's the 216th model, but I purposefully don't know what it's a model of yet.
Oh, I have no idea.
No, I'll find out when I build it.
Okay, cool. Maybe we can follow up on it.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody wants to know,
Mm-hmm.
Please ask us. Then we will happy to do.
Otherwise, we will never say.
Exactly. So for this episode, we were thinking to speak a little bit about a technology that is kind of not around much anymore.
Right, like it's a little bit, so it's around sometimes for people who want to do stuff retro, but it's definitely not current.
Yeah, so this was all new and innovative at some point, and then for a long time it was there, and then at one point it kind of disappeared, but it didn't disappear too long ago, so we still know about it. It's just not there anymore. It's about holograms.
Mm-hmm.
So I can explain a little bit.
Please do.
Well, as I mentioned, when we were young, a long time ago, it feels like, they were everywhere. And I have to say, I hadn't really thought of them for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't actually noticed that they weren't there anymore. They kind of gradually disappeared.
I was going to say, it wasn't all at once. And obviously other things take priority, thinking about other things day to day. And just when you look around, you go, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
There are so much fewer or even sometimes you don't even see any for days or weeks at a time.
Exactly. And it's not that they really played an essential part in society. Or no? It's like, let's say if the floor disappeared, we would all be falling, you
mm-hmm.
would notice. But
right, most people aren't wearing gravity belts all the time, so it would really make a difference.
Or, the sun disappearing, or
mm-hmm. Food
or whatever. But holograms, they've always really just been a nice to have thing.
Like an extra.
So we actually prepared a little bit. Mm-hmm. So we looked into why holograms kind of disappeared. But I think it makes sense to explain. They initially were developed as 3D messages, where you could have a hologram of yourself. So basically you would record a message, and then the person you send it to could basically play that by projecting you inside the room as if you were standing there.
Yeah, and it was only recording, so it's not that you could use it like a video call, like in real time. Initially, it was only for pre-recorded messages.
Yeah, and then I mean, in essentially, it's nice because you were just projected in the room or the park or wherever you were at the time, mm-hmm. and then you could record yourself, and then somebody else would basically, it would look as if you were in the room. Yeah. I mean, it was not super realistic. So you could.
I mean, like with most things, you had better quality versions and worse quality versions, and the worst is the lowest quality ones were like all flickery, slight blue tint to it, scan lines. The voice would be tinny. You were slightly translucent, and so on and so on. And the most deluxe version would really be indistinguishable from, other than not being able to touch them, visually would be indistinguishable from the person really being there. Those ones would even take into account the lighting. So, for example, even if you recorded it inside, but then it was being shown outside, the hologram's lighting would be adjusted so that it looked like you were outside. Stuff like that.
I think small kids were, let's say, maybe initially fooled and then later just fascinated about it. I remember when I was a child, we would just, project messages of, family members, over and over, and you would run through them.
Put them on
fun.
repeat.
Yeah, exactly. And then you would just, try to grab them, even that that they weren't real.
Another fun thing was it was simplest if you left it on repeat or if you had a really long recording. One thing that was fun was you'd walk through it slowly so that your face pushed through the face. Especially worked if they were staying relatively still, not if they were moving all over. But if their face was relatively still, you'd push your face through them. And that was especially fun if it was a relative who looked like you. And I'm remembering all kinds of things now. Also, so say you had a recording from a relative from 30 years before. And you look now like they did then. Something like that. There was a family resemblance. And then you'd be like pushing through it, and either you do it in the mirror for your own entertainment, or with your friends or family or whoever, and you'd be like, "Whoa, I'm like coming through it," and do all kinds of stuff.
But that's the thing. Like I remember also all kinds of kids stuff, and also pranks where you would just get really close to somebody's house and then project it in their room, where they were just sitting on the couch, and suddenly like the hologram would appear playing, "Hey, can we meet at the whatever?" Because you were close enough to be able to project it there. But that's all kinds of memories I have from holograms is from when I was a kid. And it's a long time.
I'm a bit older than you, so I remember doing it later. Not later, but when I was older, not just as a kid. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, but that's like. That just says like when we were kids, either they were really popular or it was kind of like a toy, because I mostly remembered, having fun or playing pranks or playing games, or just catch the hologram. You would project it somewhere and then somebody would run out and then you would switch it off again and things like that. But that's all playing. I don't remember.
You don't remember using it, like you didn't yourself record messages, like serious ones, not necessarily serious, but using it for its intended purpose.
Exactly, yeah. But I think the difference is like you were always able to connect to anybody all the time.
Right, it wasn't necessary to have a pre-recorded
message. And with teleportation, which was already there when I was a child, you could just go to somebody, tell whatever you had to say and teleport back. You didn't really need to record a hologram and send it there, have them project it, and of course you'd always needed equipment. And I think it was more like a toy or a hype or a cultural thing than an actual.
I think it was like maybe a thing where the idea of it existed for a long time before the technology did. So then when it was there for real, people had thought for so long, hey, when this thing exists, we'll be able to do all these cool things. So then, okay, they did those cool things for a while. And then they worked out after some time, okay, this isn't necessary.
Yeah, exactly. So there's no real benefit, or maybe...
Or even there were better ways, rather.
Yeah,
it's not that it's not necessary, but there were better ways of doing those things.
It's like we've kind of evolved past holograms before they really were everywhere, maybe. Although they were everywhere. I think for a while... we didn't really use them for messages anymore, but we used them for modeling, where you would have a hologram of yourself, and you could basically use it when you were buying clothes.
Sure, yeah. And also so for clothes, for yourself, and for furniture for your house, like you want to see, or paintings or whatever, stuff to decorate your house.
Yeah.
That was very useful to see how it would look, either was it clothing on your body or stuff around your house, how it would interact with what else was there. But all of this was before the lenses took off.
Yeah.
And with lenses, you have the same effect, but rather than needing a projector in your room that beams the image into the air and all that kind of complexity, you don't need any of that because you just have the overlay within your own vision, which has all the same benefits without the downsides.
And it has actual you. You know, if you look at a mirror with your lenses on, you can have all your clothing projected on you to see if it looks nice, and then have it delivered. You know, and because it's actually
right, because
you,
it's integrated.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's actually you, it's fine. I remember when the holograms were used for this, you know, they weren't like a one-to-one reflection of you necessarily. They were programmed. And let's say maybe you had quite a few brownies over the years. You don't really look anymore like your hologram looks. You know?
You mean like when, so sure, you had a hologram of yourself to represent yourself when you would appear telling someone a message. Like you made a recording to send to someone, but the recording that you sent, it wouldn't be like a photograph of you or a video recording of you. It would be a hologram of you, which you could tweak yourself. And so like you say you've put on some weight and you don't want that to show up in the hologram, you could tweak your hologram.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, we have also now the possibility with the cyborg chips to influence our
actual physical bodies.
Exactly, but also they haven't been around forever either. And especially when with holograms, you would order clothing that would fit your hologram, but wouldn't end up actually fitting you.
Right.
Also, a lot wouldn't actually be like whatever you saw there because of, you know, factory representation.
Yeah. And especially if, like I said earlier, your hologram projector was emitting an image that was all flickery or not quite looking right. You know, it couldn't match what the clothing would look like in real life.
Yeah.
With the lens, it's much more possible to make them accurate, what you're seeing.
But I think what you have to really say about the companies making holograms is that they kept finding new applications, like new niches. I think that the last real application for holograms were for PAs.
For our personal assistants, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, to give a face to the voice.
I think
they started out as voice only, but then for a while there with holograms, the idea was you wouldn't just hear your PA, but you would see them.
So, we have a whole episode about PAs, just in case anybody is listening that didn't listen to the whole episode. I think it was episode 32 or something like this.
Probably. I mean, we could look that up. So we mentioned a while ago now, we can't listen to our old episodes, but we have our notes.
Exactly. Yeah. At least we spoke about PAs. I don't know exactly anymore what we mentioned, but yeah, they're audio, and they are still audio at the moment. But for a while, they were holograms. I'm trying to remember why did the PA stop having holograms? I think one thing is like it made people feel uncomfortable. So especially it depends where you're using your personal assistant. Yeah, so if you're at work and you're literally just asking it to schedule a meeting for you, then it's fine if you have sitting next to you standing next to you or sitting next to you another person who's making notes and so on. If you're at home and you're much more relaxed and you ask your PA to do something and then all of a sudden this person pops into existence right next to you, it's a bit more jarring. And that's just if you're by yourself, and especially if you're in a moment where you're with other people, you don't want your PAs just popping into existence and interrupting, basically. I think for me, this is when I was, I think, teenager or so, when that was going on. We had our PA as a hologram for a while, but
so for the family, you said,
yeah. I mean, I'm saying we, of course, everybody had their own one,
right.
But once they didn't have anything to do, they would just stand there.
Okay, waiting for further instructions or
exactly. So you would walk through the house and just you would meet the PA standing in the corner, you know, and you could program to like nod or so, but it would still be super awkward because they had no artificial intelligence.
Like flipping a coin up and down or something.
But they were just, it's not like they had lives of their own. Like, sorry, I'm heading for basketball training or, you know.
Yeah.
Right,
and it was the thing where, hey, meaning not you, sorry, but the company has gone to the effort of making these really detailed holograms. They want to show off their work. Yeah. So that's why they would leave them, standing there like in an idle animation of some kind. They wouldn't just have them fade away.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was awkward.
But I think, and I could have probably got used to it, or they could have gotten improved. But then they started having viruses, the holograms. Yeah, and I think that was kind of the end of it.
Yeah.
It's like they started getting buggy, not working properly anymore, and
Right, and then it was affecting the functionality. Like before, when it started, okay, it was awkward maybe, but the personal assistant functioned just as well as it had before. But now there were viruses, bugs that were related to the holograms, but that were then affecting the actual functionality.
Yeah, and then I think there's quite a few that really got damaged beyond repair, that just couldn't work properly anymore, even if you switched off the hologram.
Right, you could restart them, and they would seem to function okay for a while, but the issue was they weren't able to form new memories effectively. So they would be able to remind you of things that you told them to do, say, before last week, but they wouldn't remind you of anything else that you told them from now on. And that was very sad, especially if you'd had one for a decade or decades, maybe your whole life. You could still converse with them, and they would have the same personality that they did before, but they were like frozen in amber. You couldn't continue a relationship with them, and so if you still needed, most people do, you still needed a personal assistant, you had to get a new one. Effectively abandoned your one that you'd had for so long.
Reminds me of Mr. Dobalina.
Mm-hmm. He was having, how is he now? He was having some difficulties.
He's in quarantine.
Whoa.
So that's for the listeners, that's my PA, my personal assistant. And he started acting up a couple of weeks ago. I can't remember.
Longer?
He
was. What was it? Was he trying to advertise things to you?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Like he was advertising different things every day. And first I just thought I had accepted some terms and conditions that I shouldn't have accepted. And suddenly he was, I think even live on the episode, he was trying to sell me a cuckoo clock.
Something like that, yeah.
And then, but then it, like his voice started to be distorted. Mm-hmm. And then I got a message that he needed to go in quarantine. So I only can speak to him in my own house. Mm-hmm. So wherever I am in the world, usually it's with PAs. You can say, Mr. Dobalina,
sure.
What are the directions to whatever. And, if there's any tech nearby, they could speak to you, so they could connect. And then, but...
Yeah. So do you have like an in-between right now? Like the passes messages along, or do you just have to wait? Do you just wait until you get home?
Yeah, or like in emergency, but I haven't had that. I would just teleport home and speak to him there. But also the other way around. If somebody's visiting me,
sure.
they can't use their PA because they can't get in touch with mine.
Yeah, because of the quarantine.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, like, they don't know what's wrong with it. Okay. Or I'm saying, it's not sentient, but of course, I've been having this PA for so long. You bond, they just don't know what's wrong with him, but so they don't want it spreading.
Sure, no. And we've been talking about holograms. This isn't related to that because that was so long ago.
Yeah. But it reminded me of it.
Of
like I've to be honest, I've gotten used to it, doing more things myself, or just remembering things. And of course, he's still there. I can still talk to him, but it feels a little bit weird now, knowing that he's not fine.
Yeah.
To say, hey, do we still have lettuce in the fridge? While I know, he's going through a rough phase.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm sure they will work it out, and then
hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. That's about it that I know about holograms. Do you know any current application?
I mentioned at the start, so people who want to decorate their house in a retro way, they'll have some hologram stuff going on, either some plants, some pets walking, or animals rather, walking around. But then because they're doing it for a retro reason, they purposefully make them look low quality. I was saying, with the translucency, the flickering, the scan lines and so on, because if it just looked like real animals or plants, you may as well just have real animals or plants. I'm not saying that people who are allergic, but still, you may as well have real ones, So really, when it's done, it's for aesthetic reasons, and then they make it look like the older ones. So decorations, or if it's a party, a theme party, maybe stuff like that. They're not used, as far as I know, anymore for like the thing we were just describing, personal assistants.
Or like retro reasons.
It's really when you want other people to see it, because like you're saying, anything where it used to be, if it was something for you, like seeing new furniture in your house, information in the world, even your personal assistant for that matter. It just makes more sense to do it on your lens now, directly in your eye. It doesn't make sense to project it into the world. So
I think the Century 22 hotel at where the airport used to be,
Mhm.
I think they have like a hologram at the counter when you come in. But of course, it's a retro hotel, so I
Sure.
guess it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's an aesthetic thing now, yeah. Like for a while it was brand new and amazing. Then it was regular part of life, and now it's really just when you want some nostalgia
Okay.
or to evoke nostalgia.
Okay. I would say that's it for holograms. But maybe we can read a few emails.
Yeah, we have
we've-
some here.
Yeah, exactly. We've been getting quite a few. Maybe it's a good opportunity to mention the email address.
Yeah, we can do that now. Our email address is michaellasagna5@gmail.com. If you're hearing this episode, please send us a message, and in the subject put the number 51. That way we'll know that you're responding to what you're hearing here. We won't be able to reply to you by email because we're 200 years in your future, but if you have anything we want to talk about, we'll talk about it in an upcoming episode.
And it also helps because we're still calling these tests. It's not so easy sending podcast episodes back 200 years.
Mm.
So it also helps us to know it's still working.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
You want to take the first email?
Yeah, first email here. So it's from Sergeant Monica, and they ask, "Hello, dear. Can we talk?"
That's it?
That's the entire. It wasn't even in the. That was the subject line. So I don't think this person heard our podcast episode. But anyway, that was the entire message. There was nothing in the body of the email.
But she's a sergeant.
That's what it says. Sergeant Monica, we cannot talk. Well, we can talk. Wait a minute. What I was just saying about the emails. Yeah, we're 200 years in your future. So we can answer your questions, but you probably want to be a bit more precise because, okay, can we talk? Yes, we can talk. Hey, you can hear us right here. But if you've got something more to ask, maybe send another email.
But also, she also says, "Hello, dear." Maybe
it's a bit familiar, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. So, but I don't know any Sergeant Monica. Have we gotten emails from her before?
No. This was the first, and so far only. We haven't got any others. I mean, this is the thing in general where that's why we're asking people to put the number in the episode in the subject, because then we can assume they're responding to this podcast. Because michaellasagna5@gmail.com is an email address of a person 200 years ago. So she also could have possibly been writing to Michael, not to us.
In the subject? No. Okay.
Because this was just in the subject. Yeah, the subject didn't have a number of one of our episodes.
You would reckon that he would have answered, but he didn't.
No, not in this. Nothing in the sent folder.
Okay. Shall we read another one?
Yeah. You can do this one.
This is a pretty long one. It's from Ekon Oberbayano.
It's a longer name, yeah.
Ekon Oberbayanoch. Sorry, it's even PhD. Sorry.
Whoa.
Ekon Oberbayanoch PhD emails us that he's representing a prince. So I read the email before. So
sure, yeah.
So he's actually representing a prince. This prince is stranded at an airport and lost access to his wealth. So I guess it's not so easy at airports to get access to your wealth.
I guess. So you go on and then we'll ask.
So this econ person says, we wire him some money so he can help the prince get out of the airport. And once he's out of the airport, he will have access to his wealth again and we will get compensated nicely. So all we need to do, or we would have...
I was going to say, presumably he's not still there 200 years later. But
we could have...
I
mean, this is a super opportunity. We gave them some money, they get out of the airport, and we get 5 times or 10 times whatever we help them with.
That sounds like a really good deal.
Yeah.
I'm a bit confused. Basically, I'm confused. Why would he not have access to his money in the airport? I don't follow that chain of logic.
Maybe he didn't get through security, or...
Sure, but you just use your... just use your lens. Okay, they didn't have lenses then, but use your... whatever the equivalent was then.
Maybe still waited for his suitcase. Maybe he got...
the wealth was in the suitcase. And that's why he hasn't got his suitcase yet.
But how can he... So, and what I don't understand is, don't they have any other friends? If you're a prince...
You should have contacts, yeah?
Why would he email us?
Okay, even the loneliest prince, maybe no friend, but a whole bunch of people who work for them.
And Econ Obayano...
take care of such things.
He has a PhD. He must...
Wait, I got mixed up there. So Econ is representing the prince, so either a friend or a colleague or whatever. But Econ can't help the prince directly. Econ needs help as well, basically.
So he's emailing us in the future.
I mean, he didn't know it was the future, to be fair.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
He's emailing Michael.
Maybe he's also... Wow, maybe Michael... So he knows a sergeant and he knows a prince.
That's pretty good.
Huh.
Well, they know him.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, no, they're contacting him.
I hope.
What I'm saying.
I hope that Michael answered. I hope
Hopefully.
he wired someone.
I mean, yeah. Right, because we also didn't see any response from him regarding this.
But maybe he still wired some money.
I was going to say, exactly. Maybe he took care of it outside of the emails.
Wow, lucky guy.
Mm-hmm.
Want to take another email?
Yeah, let's do one more for today. So it's you can just read it verbatim. It's relatively short. Hi, Michael Lasagna 5. Someone tried to log into your Instagram account. If this wasn't you, please click here to confirm your identity.
Click.
I mean, we can click. So wait, what?
I don't understand half this email. What's Instagram?
Instagram, yeah, Instagram. I mean, garm is like garments, so maybe it's some kind of clothing thing. Hey, we were talking about, with the holograms, so maybe it was something, but did they have that 200 years ago? Some way of getting clothing, that instantly fits your body.
That must be it.
But okay, someone tried to log into it, and if it wasn't you...
This email has a few really blatant spelling mistakes.
Yeah, like wasn't. Yeah, I said wasn't then because that's what makes sense, but it's spelled wasn't. And identify, confirm you identify. They probably mean identity, yeah?
Yeah. Okay, so I have no idea.
We should, these emails, they're timely ones, They're not really so much questions for us 200 years in the future. They're more things that made sense for Michael or someone to deal with 200 years ago.
That's true. And it also says, it doesn't say hi Michael, it says hi Michael Lasagna, literally the email address.
Yeah, right, the email address itself. I mean, hey, maybe Michael went by that.
True.
I've been assuming it's Michael, there's a first name, Lasagna 5 as a surname, but maybe it was a whole one thing. It's all lowercase as well,
Yeah, that's true. I don't understand at all is really click to confirm your identity. Whoa, they clicked.
That's how they did it.
That's how they click. Every click sounded differently.
Makes
Click
sense.
here to confirm your identity.
Yeah, like the shape of your, whatever this bit of your hand's called, where your fingers strike. And of course the shape of the fingers themselves, the force you use, the rhythm.
That was before
the
they had
intensity.
iris scans.
Mm-hmm.
They used clicking.
That's good for us to know.
Wow. How come we don't have this anymore?
I mean, we've got the iris scanners.
We should try this.
But this would work better over a phone call, yeah? Like an iris scanner is not so good over audio, but...
That's true.
Hey, so if we... I'm not sure... Okay, wait, check this out. So for people in the past, I'm going to click my fingers a few times. Okay, 3 times there. Now what I'd like you to do is set me up an account and use a recording of my clicks as the authentication for the identity.
True.
Then email us, michaellasagna5@gmail.com, email us the details of whatever account you set up, like the website or whatever service it was. And then I'm going to try 200 years in your future to authenticate or to confirm my identity to get in there.
But that means that the people from the 21st century are really good at recognizing people by clicking. So
yes.
Let's try. One of us is going to click. You guys guess who it is. So now guess. It was me.
And then if you guess that correct, you're well done.
Huh. Okay, it's nice. We are not 100% sure, but they would explain everything. So if we happen to be wrong, please let us know by sending an email to michaellasagna5@gmail.com.
That's the place.
Okay. I would say that's about it for this week.
I think so.
Then thank you for listening and see you in 200 years.
Bye-bye.